went to School of Visual Arts in Manhattan, New York. So I was fortunate where my teachers were like Walt Simonson, Klaus Janson, Joe Orlando, John Ruggieri. And I made some, like my best friend, Jerry Moz, from there. So after we graduated, we decided like we were gonna try our hand on doing our own stories. And him and some of the other guys, like they had their ideas and I had no ideas. So after a very sad train ride back to Long Island, I sat down in the front TV and the best Simpsons episode ever was on, the one with Mojo, the helper monkey. So I'm like, I'll draw a story about a monkey. I'm like, and he'll be angry. I'm like, well, what will make him angry? I'm like, well, there's a little girl. She treats him like a sister. She puts him in matching dresses for their tea parties. Like all their outfits are always matching. He's neutered and declawed. The parents bock him on the head all the time. So I'm like, all right, I like how this is going. So I would do some sketches because kids are not easy to draw. And you could see like certain, like new, old, whatever artists. There are some artists that just cannot draw children other than creepy miniature adults. So I spent about as much time sketching out Caitlin as I did Jennifer and how Jennifer moves around. So once I started putting that together, I wrote out the script for what ended up becoming the first 2 issues where Caitlin gets kidnapped by an evil scientist and the monkey has to go save her because he figures if he goes home without her, the parents are just gonna hit him more. Like, I don't remember as a kid not drawing or reading comics. And for me, like a pivotal moment was when I was growing up on Long Island. We lived in an apartment complex, my family. So I was very quietly and politely sitting on the front stoop reading some comics. And our upstairs neighbor came out getting ready to do his morning jog. So he stopped and looked at me. He's like, Ken, are you reading comics? And I said, yes, Mr. Kurt. He was very polite. And he's like, hold on a second. And he runs back upstairs and he comes back down with this huge box and drops it in front of me. He's like, that's for you. And it was full of comics. And back then, like before trade paperbacks and stuff, they just reprinted them as like normal, like paperback book size. So like there were probably like 20 to 30 of them in there. So that was the first time I got exposed to like Daredevil and X-Men and parts of the Avengers. Like it was the best day ever. I love comics. Back then, there weren't a lot of cartoons for comics, but I loved them all. So you had the Super Friends, we had Plastic Man, the Spider-Man, then Spider-Man's Amazing Friends. Then we had the Christopher Reeve movies and the Michael Keaton Batmans. And I'm like, this is the best. How could it ever get better? Not knowing like 2021, there's like a bazillion things that are awesome to see every day. But yeah, like I've always loved comics. And it just clicked in my head, the story and the art. If any parents are listening, it is proven that if your child reads comics, they're reading at least a 2-grade higher level than their other classmates. When it first came out, it was 6 issues, then that got collected as a trade, and I did extra stuff for that. Then the company that published it, SLG Publishing, they had transitioned more away from floppies. So we jumped into a second graphic novel. So that was a little more difficult for me to grasp, because now it's not like, oh, I'm in 24-page installments. Like now it's just like, I guess I'm gonna write a graphic novel in one shot and let's see how this goes. The Marvel movies are the family movies of this generation. So like, and they're almost all exclusively PG-13, which means that every family is going to see a superhero say fuck on screen, because you're allowed one, as long as it doesn't relate to the act. And man, those X-Men movies really dug into it over the last couple of times. So for me, like my thing was, I would joke to people that it's all ages, and you're like, really? I'm like, no, it's not. Like there are threats of violence, there is language, but I would say like young teens, it's fine.